holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. How'd you like that blast from the past, ladies and gentlemen? That was Feline, the old intro to the show. And the reason we used it tonight was the minion told me, hey, I like that song you used to use. So you should use that tonight. So I thought, well, we'll try it. See if you guys remembered it. That's the old song I wrote from ages ago. And it was the starting song for the Paranormal Portal for, God, about 6 years anyway. Maybe 7. Maybe 6.5, something like that. But anyway, good to see everybody. Thanks for y'all for coming in and being a part of the journey tonight. I hope the stream's looking good. I've got a couple notifications. Oh, I got excellent connection now. Good. Okay. It just upgraded, thank God, because, you know, as I've mentioned, I use a streaming software to split the signal between Twitch and YouTube, so we have simulcast streaming on both platforms. But it was acting all doggy at first, and I was like, oh no. So I'm glad looks like it's pulling together, and it's jacking up the frame rate or the bit rate, so it's looking good now. So I guess we got that going for us. So I'm glad it's looking good, and I hope you guys are doing good. And I just need to let you know, I'm not alone here tonight, and I'm not talking about all the voices in my head either. I'm talking about my good friend and right-hand man, Mr. Jimmy Cipriano is with me. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. Hello, everybody.
How's things over in the Midlands over there?
They're great. We're getting like a real early summer out here in Michigan. It's like 55 every day. Just unprecedented for February.
It is up here too. It's been like in the 40s generally, so we're down to grass again when we were at like 3 feet of snow. But it can be like 5 feet of snow in a winter here. But this has been a great winter. I'm all for this stuff. Heat it up, man. Start burning tires, everybody. No.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm here for it.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, couldn't resist. I may be politically incorrect, but I never claimed to be correct about anything, as that were. So. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a lot to get through tonight, as usual. Got a lot of things on the burners to serve up in this buffet of paranormal goodness that we embark in every show. And what I'm talking about is the news. Obviously, we got a little abridged version of the news tonight. Only 2 stories to go through, and then we're going to get into the question of the week. We're going to see what you guys had to say to Chucky's question this week. And, God, what's next, Jimmy? I don't even know. There's so much on the hopper. We're just going to dive into it and make a mess. What do you say, brother?
Let's dive. I brought my swim trunks.
I'm in my Speedo.
I always am. That's why I can't see the bottom half of me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not even wearing pants. No, I'm just kidding. I have pants on, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell is that? Oh, Wizard Moon. That was just a bunch of emojis. They actually worked. They don't usually work in this Restream chat, but they did this time. Actually, they're all working. I don't know what the hell's going on. Don't you love when the portal messes with you? Oh, well. Why not, Wild Man's mom? I mean, if we won't mess with you, who will? No, that didn't even come out right, did it? Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what we do here. We just like to have a good time. We like to joke around and have fun with this stuff because, as I've always said, this is dark enough on its own. And you don't need some brooding host like, tonight we got the spooky stories. It's so theatrical, right, Jimmy? You know the shows,
Absolutely.
Right? How many of those shows have you heard, brother?
Pretty much everyone but this one, it feels like.
I like how you roll. So very cool. Who's Rue? That's a new name, Rue. How you doing, Rue? Thanks for coming in. Hi, Mom. Mom's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Rue. Hi, Mom.
That's my mom, actually, Jimmy. Mom, this is Jimmy, in case you never met him before. And
hello.
He's been involved with helping me develop videos, which I've been falling asleep at. And my recent health crisis didn't really help a bunch. But we're going to get back on track and start throwing those out real soon. That was me slapping my face, Jimmy, in case you didn't catch that. Yeah. I'm admonishing myself. I'm chastising myself. But anyway, there's a lot going on. And I guess we should see if we can news these people up, huh, Jimmy?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to get newsed because it's coming right now. It's time for the Paranormal Portal. The news. Trusted news, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Paranormal Portal. I'm just telling you, that's not my idea to put that up there. That was Wes Germer's idea. So God bless that man. He trusts me apparently, which is good. That's the most trusted news. This is the news desk. Welcome. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, joined by my co-anchor, Jimmy Cipriano, as we will bring you some news. So get ready to get newsed up here because it starts right now as I'm pulling up the first article I found for you guys. This one's kind of cool. I don't know if this is the best science fair project ever, but I guess it's historical and it's pretty powerful. But here you go. From unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen, comes our first news story. And this is, I don't know, I guess it's coming from archaeology and history, but this is not your normal archaeology and history story because apparently, and please support this site, it's an amazing site. Give them some traffic, give them some love, because that gives them revenue. So support all the sites that we visit tonight, as I always say. All right, here it is. 12-year-old builds working replica of Archimedes' death ray. How about that, Jimmy?
I don't know if a 12-year-old should have that much power.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, yeah. Imagine he's fun on the school bus, right?
Yeah, that being said, I also couldn't build a death ray, so maybe he's earned it.
Yeah, no kidding. And I believe that basically this was just some sort of lens-like apparatus that focused the available sunlight onto the ships in the harbor, and it would like start fires. So I think that's what the Archimedes death ray is, if I recall right. But let's see. The Canadian grade 8 student, he's 12 and he's in grade 8. Is that right? That sounds...
Grade 8, eh? I don't know. I don't know Canadian.
Little precocious, right? Anyway, he's building death rays. He must be. Grade 8 student wanted to see if the idea of setting ships on fire with mirrors was plausible. The ancient Greek physicist and mathematician Archimedes is perhaps the best known for jumping out of his bathtub and shouting "Eureka!" after discovering that he could hold his hold his air. No, that's not what he discovered. That he could use the displacement of water to determine the volume of a gold crown. Yet he is also attributed with a number of other inventions and discoveries, of which some still remain steeped in mystery and intrigue. Chief among these is the death ray, a device he invented that was reportedly used to set fire to invading Roman vessels during the siege of Syracuse between 213 to 212 BCE. The weapon worked by essentially focusing the sun rays on approaching ships and eventually setting them alight, something that would have proven devastating to the vessel's occupants. To date, however, there has never been any archaeological evidence to suggest that the death ray actually existed or was used in battle, prompting modern-day researchers to attempt to recreate the idea to see if it was feasible for use in such a scenario. The latest budding scientist to do this was 12-year-old Brendan Senior, I think that's Senior, who built a working miniature replica of the death ray using small concave mirrors and LED desk lamps. What he discovered was that by focusing multiple reflectors on the same spot, the temperature increased significantly, with the rate of increase rising as more mirrors were added. Oof. And it says a similar experiment was conducted back in 2005 by a team from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So this kid is building MIT-rated stuff, who used a replica death ray to set a ship alight in 11 minutes. Based on my experimental findings, I agree with the MIT group and believe that with a strong enough heat source and larger multiple mirrors all focused at a perfect angle, combustion could be possible, Senior wrote. Well, there you go. And there's a video involved, and I can put a link into our chat if any of you want to check this out. But yeah, 12-year-olds building death rays. Yeah, I saw this.
That's the kind of fun science for them.
Yeah, look, Mom. Yeah, oh. I don't know. That's still freaky a little bit, but it's cool. I mean, the kid's obviously... I love his vocabulary. Based on my experimental findings. I agree with the MIT group.
His experimental findings. How many ants is he talking about that he murdered with that thing?
There's a trail of ant carcasses all the way to school. Yep. He's the guy burning off their feelers and stuff, Jimmy. Oh, man. That's really crazy, right?
That is crazy, yeah. And I don't know grade 8, but like that's not anything I was ever doing in science fairs. That's way cooler.
Yeah, I think there was another version of this too where it wasn't just one source, but I think the shields of the wall guard were actually crafted like concave, really smooth, shiny surfaces as well, so that all of the guards up there could focus the light of the sun on an approaching vessel too. So that's why he's saying the multiple mirrors. As I understand it, it wasn't just one; it was several, and it might have been the shields that were used to do that. So very cool. I think that's right. At least that's one version that I've heard. It may not have been Archimedes; it might have been someone else. But anyway, yeah, that'll wreck your day. Once those,
Absolutely.
I mean, those boats were made of wood and pitch. My God, they were like floating matches.
Also, they have no idea that is. It's probably just swords and arrows at that point. And then
exactly.
A death ray.
Here comes a death ray. It's like, yeah, we give up. We surrender. We surrender. God,
I think God's mad at us, so we're going to turn around.
This is a bad sign from the gods. Let's go. Oh my God. I don't know. What was the person's name be back then? Hermocles or something like that. Who knows? Let's go home, Hermocles. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy stuff. Anyway, that's the first story tonight. What do you make of that? Kids building death rays, folks. What's next? They'll probably solve our energy problem at some point, too. Here comes the next generation. That's all I got to say. Let's go to the next one, and this is the last one tonight for the news. And let's see what the hell's going on here. I don't even know yet. I mean, I pulled these up kind of blindly. Like, oh yeah,
I'm intrigued.
Looks like a good story. The amount of research I do, Jimmy, it's incredible.
I'm typically uninformed, so that works for me.
It's all new. All right, let's go to this one. And this was from Ghosts and Hauntings, ladies and gentlemen, which is good. And it's brand new as of today from unexplained-mysteries.com. Most Haunted's Yvette Fielding recalls her first encounter with a ghost. And there is Yvette. That's a picture of Yvette. Yep. Looks like she saw a ghost of those streaks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure that's just, that's her stylist. It's cool. I actually like that kind of hairdo. It looks really cool. All right.
Cool Cruella de Vil. Yeah, that is cool.
I think she likes puppies. All right, let's get to the story. This is the TV presenter and paranormal enthusiast recalled seeing a ghostly pair of legs at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. Wait a minute, isn't that where the Muffin Man lives?
I immediately thought that. It's got to be right.
Oh my God, it was the Muffin Man.
That lives on Drury Lane.
It lives on Drury Lane. I guess it's the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. Wow. She was investigating for the Muffin Man. There you go.
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man. All right. As the host of the long-running and highly successful British paranormal investigation series, Most Haunted, Yvette Fielding is certainly no stranger to ghosts and spirits. There was a time, however, when encountering the paranormal was a new experience for her. In a recent interview on This Morning, Fielding told hosts Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary. You never hear of anybody named Dermot anymore, do you?
No, you don't. That's definitely an old man name. He's probably not, though, right?
I don't know. I have no idea what the guy looks like. But
sorry if there's any Dermots listening. It also sounds like a very handsome man's name.
It does. Very distinguished. Yeah. My name is Dermot. I'm coming from Drury Lane. About the first time she ever saw a ghost while visiting the restrooms of a notoriously haunted theater. It wasn't a full ghost. It was a pair of legs. Just a pair of legs, she recalled. 3 of us were walking down the corridor and we all stopped because, I mean, if it's just under the stall, it's just going to be a pair of legs, right?
Gotta be.
I saw cowboy boots in the bathroom today at Walmart.
Could have been anybody.
I think it was a spirit, Jimmy. I could smell its sulfur breath.
We'll go with that.
I think it was evil. I'm just saying. It growled once in a while, too.
A couple times, yeah.
All right, the 3 of us were walking down the corridor and we all stopped because coming up the main staircase were a pair of legs with over-the-knee leather boots walking almost in slow motion up the stairs. Huh. All 3 of us saw it at the same time and turned and ran. So these brave investigators all saw it and booked. And they just took off.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you there exactly?
Are those leather boots? We got to get out of here.
Yeah, they're over the knee. This is trouble. This is far from the most disturbing thing she had experienced during an investigation, however. I've had so many, but once we did an investigation into a terraced house in Leeds, she said. A carving knife went missing the night we were there, and we found it embedded in a cushion in the dark. We felt objects being thrown towards us, and there was no breeze at all in the house. Yeah, I mean, if your furnace kicks up objects, you got a problem.
I'd say so.
It turned out that the house was built over the ruins of a monastery. The nasty entity that had plagued this house was a monk, but not a nice one. Oh, that's horrifying. Things being thrown to me is like, that's a bad thing. That's an incredibly bad thing when you're in an investigation, because if things are thrown at you, I mean, that's essentially an attack, you know?
I was going to say, yeah, pretty clear sign you're not welcome.
Yes. Move along. Nothing to see here. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to put a link in here because there is the actual interview. I don't know how long it is, but, I'm not going to air that on our show, but there it is. So, this has basically been the abridged version of the news, but I would have pulled up more, folks, but after, three nights of news stories, they're kind of out until next Wednesday. I'm sure they'll be refreshing until Wednesday, and we'll get a whole new batch, but for tonight, that's going to wrap it up for the news. Yeah, I think that's it. I still haven't got my Britannica page to work, so I can't tell you what happened this day in history. I've been doing that, Jimmy. I've been doing what happened this day in history. I guess I can pull it up and see.
This day in history.
What's that?
I like this day in history.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. All right. Well, I'll try to pull it up. This day in history. See what comes up. I guess we can try it before we ended it. What happened today in history? Yeah, it's a Britannica. Let's see if this loads. Okay. It did. It did, actually. Well, let's pull it up from Britannica.com, which I think were the inventors of the Encyclopedia Britannica company. There's this, and it's this day in history. I'm going to close this damn ad first. There we go. Stop seeing any ads. How do I just close the damn thing? Stop seeing any ads. Okay, well, let's just do this. All right. Today in history, ladies and gentlemen, and this is, of course, February 10th. What happened today? Well, is this the Chinese New Year, Jimmy?
I don't know,
Or
actually.
was that yesterday, or when was that?
Let's see.
I know it's the year of the dragon now. So, which is cool.
Oh, it is today. Yeah.
Happy Chinese New Year, everybody.
Happy Chinese New Year.
To all our listeners that of Chinese descent or are from China or live in China, Happy New Year. It's the year of the dragon. It's the Bruce Lee year. All right,
Yep.
so this
Hope you
day,
guys have your Chinese New Year's resolutions.
yeah, I think you're supposed to give me money, Jimmy, on Chinese New Year's. Isn't that how that works? You get money?
I believe so. Yep. I spread prosperity.
Where's my red envelope? That's how it comes usually. I think traditional red envelopes is, yeah. Well, anyway, this day in history, Kasparov versus computer chess match happened. And on this day in 1996, world chess champion Garry Kasparov began a 6-round match against Deep Blue. Hold on, I got a cough. A chess-playing computer built by IBM, which Kasparov claimed a 4-2 victory, though Deep Blue won a rematch the following year. Ooh, the year that people fell in chess. What happened else? American actress and diplomat Shirley Temple died at the age of 85. Arthur Miller died at the age of 89. And the spacecraft Galileo flew past Venus on its way to Jupiter. So there you go. What if it visited Uranus? Sorry.
Brief pit stop.
A little bit. 1962, an airman, Francis Gary Powers, was exchanged for jailed Soviet informant Rudolf Abel. 1957, American author Laura Ingalls Wilder, who wrote the popular Little House series of children's books, died at the age of 90 in 1957. Wow, she was, some of her story, I think, centered around Mankato, Minnesota, which wasn't far from where I lived. The American film classic Stagecoach was elevated John Wayne to stardom. That was in 1939. Wow. And German poet and playwright Bertolt Brecht was born in Augsburg. The British conquered the Sikhs in northwestern India in 1846. 1837, Russian author Alexander Pushkin was killed in a duel defending his wife's honor. I guess he didn't. He was not a good defender. No offense, Mr. Pushkin. God rest your soul.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
1763, the Treaty of Paris was signed, and it's called the North American phase of which was called the French and Indian War. Okay, so there you go. I guess that's this day in history, folks, and that's the news. Do you feel all newsed up, Jimmy?
I feel heavier in the head. In a good way.
Okay, well, good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the news. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of fun with that. I like the news. The news makes me kind of happy. Now you all know. Now you all know. Things we don't know or remember don't. What is that? I don't even know. I have no idea what I'm reading here. Karen Alberding says, now you know all. Guess who went home with his wife? What?
Yeah, the duelist. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Hey, there you go. That's a good point, SoCal. Hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. Yep. Winner gets the spoils. Yeah. Well, at least he wasn't there to see it.
True.
Unless he's a lingering spirit pissed off because he lost the duel.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yep. He's going to haunt him. All right. Well, we made it through that, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know about you, but I got a good feeling. It's like menthol floss, flossing the menthol stuff. And I got a lot of plaque up in there, so you got to floss. What am I doing? Here we go. I got to pull up Discord. We got to pull up Discord, Jimmy, because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for question of the week.
Question of the week.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was the transition I made for that. I still got to make one for Cryptid Corner. That's something I'm going to have to do. In all the pile of things that I have to do. Anyway, welcome to the Discord question of the week. And this is where we asked you guys, if you're a member of our Discord, and if you're not a member of our Discord, I'm going to put it in the chat, to join our Discord. It's HTTPS. Oh, how did I get an A in there? Man, I'm typing like I'm using pickle fingers here, Jimmy. It's discord.gg/paranormal portal. And there you go. That's the link. If you want to join the Discord, that's how you do it. We welcome everybody. Just ask that you be, respectful and not argumentative or egotistical or anything. Just, go in there and enjoy topics that you might be interested in. There's a whole slew of them. And tonight we're diving into the question of the week, as I said, and we do this every Saturday. And this is our opportunity to ask you guys a question, because during the course of the shows, you hear our opinions on all this stuff. And while we do our best to catch up and chat with what you guys have to say, we don't always catch it. So this is your chance to sound off. And I have to honestly say, this is truly from the heart, that I'm blown away by your perspectives on things, because you all come at it with a unique angle, and you've really given me a lot to ponder with your responses. So thank you for that, because it really is a real revelation for me. And that's kind of the thing behind any group think. Once you put more minds into something, you get a more robust answer and possibilities. And that's what I love about what this segment does. So we're going to get to it now. And as you can't see, but you will now, as you can see on my screen, this is our Discord. And this is the Paranormal Portal Discord. Special thanks to K-Love again for boosting us up so we can have a concrete URL. And she did that, and she's done so much more. Just a wonderful and amazing lady. And thank you to Chucky Danger, who has kept this going. And thank you to all of our mods as well, and all of our participants. But Chucky Danger has been spearheading the questions of the week. And as you can see, we got a lot to get through tonight. This is a lot, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. I know. I was going through these. This is a good chunk of words. I'm going to try and read my best here.
All right, brother. There you go.
All righty. Coming from the one and only Chucky Danger. Question of the week this week. Quite often, cryptids and ghosts are described as frightful or evil without ever really knowing the true nature of their presence. Do you think people often jump to conclusions and judge a book by its cover, or are those assumptions justified?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I believe people jump to conclusions immediately.
Yeah.
Get my opinion out of the way right off the bat.
Might as well do that.
We got, what?
Looks like
okay. Coming from after. I don't know where I live. The only cryptids we have are giant toads, goblins, and only giant toads, goblins, and skinwalkers.
That's enough of a load right there. And cartels, they say.
Cartels, yeah.
Wow.
I live in a rural town in Mexico. Okay, that one's the scariest, is the cartels.
Wow, absolutely. But big frogs, I think, would be kind of terrifying too, because what if they're big enough to eat you? Because anything that when I think of anything that looks like an insect or an animal like a frog, I mean, they don't think a lot. They just go, food. That's moving. Food.
Yeah.
Can I eat that? Yes, I can. They got a real simple flow chart. Can I eat that? If it's yes, eat. And if it's no, move away. It's like that's their decision tree for everything. And it's like scary to me. That's terrifying. But anyway, sorry, I just had to interject
terrifying.
with that. Yeah. All right, continue
That's
on,
how
sir.
I'm in the winter, though. Pretty much. Yeah, can I eat it?
Well, there you go. I hear you.
We got Eric the Purple Hobbit, !007. Well, number one, if I see anything out of the ordinary, it's going to frighten most. I'm sorry. Well, number one, if you see anything out of the ordinary, it's going to frighten most folk. Not to mention all the entertainment programming about monsters and evil spirits. But yes, I think people jump to conclusions. Being as fear and anger combined to confuse the situation. That's not to say there aren't evil cryptids and spirits. So it's a mix, I think. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good take. I mean, but it is hard to look at something that's just you've never seen it before, and immediately you do this instant assessment. It has claws, danger. It has sharp teeth, danger. It doesn't look happy to see me, danger. You know.
Yep.
Very
Is
cool.
it going to eat me?
Yeah.
Danger.
Yeah, exactly. It could kill me, danger.
You got a CMB chasing mound builders said, I told you it would be a struggle with me tonight.
That's all right, brother.
I'll say it like I've said before. I worry about bumping into humans when I'm out in my travels way more than I worry about any supernatural or ultra-dimensional entities. I know that sounds weird, but I've encountered both in my life, and I've only ever been hurt by humans. That's a good point.
That is a good take, yeah. And then I think that's important as well. I mean, you know, quite honestly, just in Bigfoot and Dogman reports, they can be intimidating, they can be scary, but generally people seem to just walk away from it. You know, I mean, it's not like they were actively being hunted. If these things wanted people dead, they would be dead. So I think that's a good take. Yeah.
Absolutely. ZX81V2 said humans fear what they don't understand. Totally. Yep. Humans fear what they don't understand. Yep. And honestly, I feel too like your mind is going to fill in the blank. So if you don't know what something is, you're immediately it's like being in the basement when you turn the bottom stair light off and all of a sudden it's scary down there and you got to run up the stairs.
Yeah.
My mind goes nuts.
Yeah. Is this what happens in your home, Jimmy?
Quite a bit. Yeah. As soon as the lights go off, I'm running up the stairs.
Fair enough, brother. Fair enough.
I told you my basement's scary and probably haunted. So.
Oh yeah. You did definitely.
Yep. We got Artemis Rex said, okay, all right, bear with me, guys. This is a long one. I think that religion has taught people that anything that is a variant from what they have been taught is by default evil. Good point.
Yep.
Paranormal seems to be a modern version of the Euthyphro dilemma. Socrates.
Or Bill and Ted
Ted
version is Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates, dude.
Yeah. Excellent.
Socrates was asking Euthyphro what made something good or evil, and Euthyphro responds, I hope I'm saying that right. Euthyphro responds by saying that it is determined by what the gods found to be pleasing and just. Socrates goes on to question Euthyphro about how you determine what that is, because what is pleasing to one god might be insulting to another. It's much the same with the paranormal. Some religious documents describe spirits and cryptids as being evil, so they must be evil. However, not every religion sees them this way. So the question becomes, who is right? Or, who is right? Our best bet is to step away from the religious and philosophical idea of good and evil and approach the paranormal from the perspective of science and logic. Cryptids can't be evil because they're simply animals. Lions are scary because they can eat us, but that doesn't make them evil. It makes them a hungry animal. We don't know if Bigfoot has a taste for human and that makes him scary, but it doesn't make him evil. Spirits may cause physical harm to a human by scratching them or throwing an object at them, but if ghosts are the spirits of human that have passed on, we can't make the assumption that those spirits could be acting out of their own human. We could make the assumption that those spirits could be acting out of their own human fear. If that makes them evil, then does that mean a living human who is reacting to defend themselves also evil?
Oh, good point.
That's a very good point. No, we call that self-defense, and it's considered human nature. There's some spirits who would be considered evil, but that is because they have the same evil intention that they had in life. It's intention that determines something's nature, not our lack of understanding or personal ideology.
Wow.
Very well said.
Very, very well said. That was very robust and informative. Very cool.
Yep.
I like that one. Who said that?
Absolutely, yeah.
That was Artemis Rex. Wow.
Yep.
I learned a lot in that paragraph. I really did. That was very cool.
That's a very good way of thinking about it, too, because I guess you don't for sure know if they're evil. So it's again, I think it all comes back to just if you're afraid of something, you're going to think it's scary and evil.
Yeah, exactly. Or if it's just outside of your paradigm. It's like we're not used to seeing, 8 or 10 foot tall ape people. I mean, that's just not something we run into. But when it happens, I mean, people are, voiding their bowels. That was a story I read last night.
Yeah.
Literally everything opened, and you can't blame them.
Yeah.
That's
No,
terrifying.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I mean, with a Sasquatch, I would imagine it's neither here nor there, but I think that there are some cryptids that are probably by default, like, evil just by the nature of what they're described. Like, I think a hellhound would probably be
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah. That's probably
Uh,
true. Probably true. And things like, I think the Wendigo is probably pretty dark and
yeah,
evil. Yeah.
yep.
I think that's a
And a
horrifying.
lot of the Native American ones, they really do a good job of documenting what they. Well, I guess it's all kind of up in the air, but I think most of them have a good ideology behind it and kind of explain the intention they believe. So, like
Sure.
the Wendigo, I mean, that one's pretty clear cut. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah. And it seems that skinwalkers might be as well, although that
Yeah,
there are several instances where people have seen them and encountered them, and basically the skinwalker just gave them a smirk and then took off. You know, it was like, so it's not like they go out of their way all the time to harm, but when they have a target for some reason, man, they're ruthless. They are
yeah,
really without bounds. But unless, if you haven't crossed them in some way, or maybe done something that would be sacrilegious to them, then maybe they just don't care. I don't know. It's a strange one. I don't want to say they're good guys too, but they were. Apparently, according to the ancient histories of like skinwalkers, they fought alongside the Navajo to stop the invading Spanish at first. And then apparently they became corrupt and started doing really corrupt things, and they were, that's where the fork happened for them, and they were considered dark and evil. So very, very crazy, right?
that isn't. Yeah, every time I hear that, that's insane to think about because I've heard that before, and it's like
Yeah.
the agenda of a skinwalker.
Right.
What is it?
Right. Yeah. And what would be sacrilegious to them to really piss them off. So
Yeah.
I don't pretend to know.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. We got Cryptic Chaos. I don't think they are all evil, just like humans and animals. There's some good, calm ones, and then there are some bad, crazy ones, or a mix of both. Yep.
Sure. Yep.
Yep.
Fair. That's a good
Um,
point.
absolutely. ZX81V2 again. We said one race of animals called humans. Can you use one? Can you use one good evil term to class the entire planet? No. So how can we class an entire species we know nothing of or about? Never know. Never know these cryptids may be far more intelligent than we give them credit for. Yeah,
That's
that's a very good point.
that is a great, great point. We can't just say humans are good or evil, because there's both. Right. Good. Good.
Yep.
Good take.
There could very well be Casper the Friendly Cryptid somewhere out there. It could
Maybe.
happen.
Maybe. Yeah. I've covered many stories where cryptids have been very helpful, like Bigfoot has been very
Yeah.
helpful and gone out of its way to help people. And that's amazing.
Yep.
Just one take quickly. There was one guy that was canoeing on a river up in, I think it was Canada or Alaska. I can't remember where, but he ended up having an accident and crashed his boat. And the next thing he knew, he was, this is in the rapids or whatever, and he was beat the hell up, from coming down the rapids, kind of unconscious and slamming into things. He woke up with several broken ribs and a broken arm, and apparently something was wrong with his legs as well. But he was leaned up against a tree, and there was like a leaf with some berries in it, and he didn't know what was going on, but he was hungry, so he ate them. And then he like passed out again, and he woke up and saw one of them walking away with more food for him. So they were like tending to him, while he was
That's pretty cool.
helpless. And I thought, God, that's incredible. Now, do I know it's a true story? No, but what if it is? That's incredible.
Well,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even so, it's thought provoking.
Right.
I'd like to believe that.
Right. Me too. I really, really would. I'd love to think that, they were generally benevolent, because most of the encounters, again, aren't really aggressive. They're just like throwing shit to get you to, or throwing stuff, sorry, to get you to leave a place. Sorry. I don't ever drop swear words. I'm sorry about that, folks. I try to keep it real clean, but I sometimes my filter fails too. My apologies. All right, brother. What do we got next?
Okay, we got Charlotte. I think it can be a bit of both depending on the situation. Fear can get in the way of being able to discern a situation that is unknown to us. I thought about this exact question not long ago after hearing a person's voice quiver in fear to what he thought was a UFO, but it was a spotlight moving around and light cloud cover and the light cloud cover was breaking the path of the beam. Yeah. Yeah, I think it all does go to fear a lot of the times.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree. Great take, Charlotte. Thank you.
Got John T. I say eye of the beholder. A lot say coincidence. Some totally believe it to be true, but some are very good at looking at the past with the stars. Looking at the past with the stars, which more than not events reoccur with time. As for me, I say some have the gift.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I don't.
we got.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Okay, no, you're good. We got Lars Grass, mostly harmless. Yeah.
Yeah.
ZX81V2 again. We got Douglas seems to have had a grip on the world very few have.
Who's Douglas? I don't get that.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, ZX. I don't understand what that means. Who's Douglas?
Did I miss one?
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No, unless there was one that was deleted. That could have.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that, but all right. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, we got Rachel 101. It's the fear of the unknown that triggers conclusions that they're evil. Perception, belief, personal beliefs are the masks that the unknown wears. Ooh. And sometimes those are our deepest fears. For sure. Yep.
And very poetic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perception and personal beliefs are the masks that the unknown wears. Very
Garth,
good.
that was a haiku.
Absolutely. Very cool.
We got Karen Elberding. I think a lot of people jump to conclusions due to being somewhat preconditioned. We grow up and see movies and even cartoons where ghosts and cryptids are evil, scary creatures. Yeah. So when we are confronted with something like that, we fear it because it's ingrained in us somewhat. Small children are generally not afraid because they have not been exposed to those things or ideas yet. I know I wasn't afraid when I was 4 when I saw a ghost. That's yeah. I think that they're pretty much residual imprints of some sort, or in some cases, lost souls that don't know how to move on. Some, of course, can be evil and very scary, and cryptids as well. The evil, scary ghosts were probably not nice people when they were alive. Cryptids are like anything in the animal kingdom. Some are okay. Some are things you just want to stay away from, most probably. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Great take. Karen, I want to hear that story. You need to be a guest on the podcast, too.
Absolutely.
Love to hear what happened in that 4-year-old story. Wow. Yeah. Excellent.
There's something about kids seeing ghosts that that's just, it's so fascinating too. Like I have some little cousins that have seen, their parents claim they see ghosts, and it's just, they've got tons of stories about it. And it's like, I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about it right now, but it's very compelling when a kid sees a ghost because they have no intention to lie for the most part. Right. And then on top of that, how could like at a certain age, how are kids coming up with these kind of things?
Right. Right. Yeah. Embellishment for a 4-year-old is really a stretch, if they, especially when it's possible in several of those cases anyway, where kids are talking to someone the adults aren't seeing. It's like sometimes those stories are corroborated with, oh, there was an old man that died in this house. Well, the kid sees an old man, he calls him, whatever, like John or whatever. It turns out the man's name was John, an old man that died in the house. Well, how would this kid know? But it comes up. So I believe kids definitely have the ability to see in many more ways than we as adults do. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. And then we got Barbara Mora. I do think people jump to conclusions that paranormal experiences are malevolent. I first thought the activity here at my home was frightening, but now I think it's family or friendly entities. Every time there's activity here, it hasn't been too scary. Weird, but not scary. Or somebody thoughtful is living in my attic. That's a nice thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when those presences are in homes, it's either the basement or the attic that they tend to go to. And maybe because they largely want to be just in their own space, in their own moment. Because if they are earthbound or hadn't transitioned for some reason, they probably need a place to collect their thoughts. Well, if people are always coming through and there's distractions, they probably want to avoid that. So, yeah, it's either basements or attics, Jimmy. That's always the hot spots.
It is my basement for sure. Cat ghost.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Yep. My dog was down there last week freaking out for no reason. I came in, he was sitting in the corner. I'm like, oh, found the cat.
Yeah, again, not only children, but pets. You know, they see that stuff.
Yeah.
Too. That was a great question, Chucky. Thank you so much, man. That was brilliant. Good question.
That was great. Thank you, Chucky.
And I appreciate that take because you're right. I mean, oftentimes we see something weird that just doesn't compute, so automatically we go to danger. And is that a fair assessment? No, not at all. But there again, I do think that being cautious is good. Like, you don't go up and pet a grizzly bear, as Wes would always say. You know, so why would you try to go up to a Bigfoot? You don't know. You don't know what it's going to do or how it's going to take, you know, your presence. Even things that aren't, like was pointed out by several of you, things that aren't evil, but they're protecting their space. You know, it's like, oh, you're too close. Who are you? What are you? And they may come forward aggressively, but it doesn't make them evil. And that's a good take. So I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody that responded. Those were wonderful, wonderful, reflections on this topic. And I really appreciate you and all that you guys had to say. All right. So I guess, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Discord question of the week. Thank you all for participating, and thank you, Chucky, for making it happen and keeping that ball rolling, brother. That's awesome. And let's get back to the rest of this.
Yep, and thank you guys for dealing with my reading.
You did good.
Thank you. I've been really practicing with big words, too.
I can tell. I could tell. You did really, really well. I mean, you only tripped up a couple times, and I trip up about 15, generally speaking. I mean, it depends on my eyesight any given night. It's like my eyes don't function as well as they used to. I guess it's from years of staring at these screens for hours every day.
It's the Greek philosopher names that get me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. But I got to tell you, you pronounce those, other than Socrates, I know that one. But the other one, I would have been all over that. Like, yeah. So you did great. Yeah. See, John says, good read, dude. Yep, there you go. Absolutely, folks. All right, what are we doing next? I don't even know. What time is it? God, it's already 10 to 8. Can you believe that?
Wow, that flew by.
50 minutes is gone already. Because
10 to 8. It's 10 to 11, but where I'm at, that threw me off.
I know, right? I mean, there's definitely time anomalies here in the portal. So it's something that even though I've been doing this for eight years now, almost 8 years to the day, I've never gotten used to it. Like how quickly the nights go. Fight or flight. Oh yeah. Wild Man's mom says, yes, it's fight or flight. We be smart if the fight will be a Bigfoot or Dogman. We be smart if the fight will be the Bigfoot or Dogman. Yeah. I mean, who could fight any of that? You know, without, let's say you don't have a powerful weapon of some kind. It's just you. If you got a pocket knife or whatever, it's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. Roll into the fetal position and wish for the best. I don't know. Because I don't even think if you landed a serious blow on these things, it would really probably do that much. But
yeah,
depends on your
maybe
take.
Dolph Lundgren. That's the only man that comes to mind that could tangle with any of these.
Yeah, he's actually a brute. That guy was actually he was a trained martial artist since he was a young kid, apparently. So.
Oh yeah, that guy's got a crazy life. Yeah, I could go on and on about Dolph Lundgren. He's got nothing but stories.
Oh, does he really? Okay, I don't know that much about him. But yeah,
I think some people broke into his house with machetes, and they were robbing him, and they saw pictures of him on the wall, and they were like, "We got to get out of here." And I think he held them off or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but that's roughly the story.
Oh wow, he's almost another Chuck Norris, huh?
Literally, yeah. That's why I think he might be the only one that could tangle with somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I guess he ruptured Stallone's liver or something when they were doing the Rocky thing. Like
he actually broke him.
Oh yeah, he broke Stallone bad. He was in the hospital for a while after that. Yep. Something like that happened. I know he hit him with a gut shot, and it literally folded Stallone, and he had to go to the hospital. So that man he's a beast. He's got some power. So I mean, he was only about a foot taller, and had about a 12-inch reach advantage, but
yeah, just little things.
But Stallone told him, "Really hit me. So it looks really real." So Lundgren did, and it was like, oops. So, all right.
He told me to do it.
Yeah, although he's not paranormal as far as we know. He might be. What are we doing next, Jimmy? What are we doing next? Let's see. Got to pull up my bag of fun here and see what I got available. I got a few things up. I don't know if I wanted to do some. I forgot to pull up something UFO-y, and I want to do that quick because I love the UFO stuff. All right, that one. No. All right, I got to go a little bit. Okay. I don't want to read that one. That would be too sad. Talking about the missing cosmonaut, and they heard there was a recording that was apparently or a voice radioed in that was recorded from space as he's floating away.
Oh, that's terrifying.
I know. Could you imagine? It's like, well, this is where I'm going to die. Nobody's
do they
coming
have
to get
the
you.
audio of that? I think I've heard something like that before.
Yeah, I allegedly, according to that article heading, anyway. No, not that one. Sorry, guys. I thought I was much more prepared, but I'm just looking for one here that we can talk about. All right, not that one. I did enough of those. Talking about like the Tic Tac stuff. I'm kind of tired of talking about the Tic Tac stuff because, the Tic Tac UFOs. Jimmy, you familiar with those?
Yeah, a little bit. I know what they are.
Yeah, it's those. They were recorded from the Nimitz and one other
Yep.
place, or another ship out in off the coast of California. 2014, I think, is when they were recorded. But there we go. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So much Egypt stuff, and I like the Egypt stuff, but it's chock full of curiosity. And I don't have enough background knowledge to really even be able to commentary on it. What is this? No. Well, maybe we could do that. That's different. All right, let's see this. This is, it's not really UFO-y, but it might be. And this has to do, it's from Curiosmos.com. The article is from 2020 by Ivan Petricevic. And the guy is brilliant. And again, please visit this site. Again, it's called Curiosmos. And this is Bermuda Triangle, 4 sinister theories that may explain the mystery. Now, it is interesting that it seemed like the Bermuda Triangle was the big talk of, what would you say, the 70s or the 60s, Jimmy?
I can tell you when I was a child, I wasn't there in the 70s and 60s, but I can tell you it was something I thought I'd run into a lot more in adult life when I was a kid.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was pretty scared of it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, I was terrified of the whole prospect. Yeah. Let's see. What was this? What was this comment? Wildman's mom. I'm sorry, that was all the wrong way it came out. We are smart as humans. Don't fight. We use bye-bye. See you when I see ya. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm scrolling down. All right, so let's check out this article on the Bermuda Triangle. And it's one of the greatest mysteries of history. Now, the weird part is it was all the rage for a while, and then it just kind of died off. And every once in a while, you'll hear of an oddity over there, but it's not like it used to be. It seemed like things were going missing there all the time for a while, and now it's just sometimes. Now, we did cover a story, apparently the secret book by the KGB that talked about the alien races that were here or had been here on Earth, and one of them did mention the Bermuda Triangle, and they attributed it to one of the races, that it was them, I guess, in the ocean or near there. And they were disrupting the electronics of these, these overflying ships or floating ships and aircraft. But maybe they left. Maybe that's what's going on, and maybe that's really it. Now, I did interview a gentleman who talked about the Bermuda Triangle and the fact that he ended up flying through one of those weird, I don't know, he calls them like, what does he call it? Electrical. It wasn't an electrical storm, but I can't remember what he said. It was like an electrical phenomena that created a tunnel effect in the clouds as he was flying. And he's had 2 experiences. One was over the Everglades. One was over the Bermuda Triangle, where he saw these vortexes in the sky, and like his instrumentation was going crazy, and he just decided the only path was to go through this vortex, and he ended up slipping through time and ended up in Bermuda, I think a lot quicker than they were supposed to, or they were a lot longer than they were supposed to. I can't remember which way it went. It was really fascinating, but I'm fumbling the details because it was one of those discussions when I was talking with him my mind was just going over this stuff so crazily because I'd never heard this before. So I didn't focus enough on his details because my mind was reeling with what he was saying. But it was an incredible interview. I can't remember what it was called, but he's actually a published author and has appeared on many shows. So if you check that out, it's on the podcast playlist, and it was a great interview. But here we go. There's a geographical area in the shape of an equilateral triangle in the Atlantic Ocean between the Bermuda Islands, Puerto Rico, and Miami in Florida. If one joined these three geographical locations with an imaginary line, it would make up the shape of the triangle, covering an area of approximately 11 million square kilometers. The area is dubbed the Bermuda Triangle, a term coined in 1953 by several writers who published articles in magazines about an alleged danger of the area. It is believed that hundreds of airplanes and boats have gone missing while crossing a particular part of the Atlantic. Although science sees nothing out of the ordinary in that area, there have been records of waves rising 18 meters high, and some have suggested these waves could rise as high as 30 meters. My God, that's monstrous.
That is terrifying.
That's like 100 feet, right? My God, a wave 100 feet high? Oof. Which at least explains a few of the marine traffic. It doesn't really finish. It's a few of maritime traffic. Okay. There's the triangle in case you're wondering what that looked like. It says the first documented mention of the so-called Bermuda Triangle was made in 1950 when Edward Van Winkle Jones, an Associated Press journalist, wrote about ships that had disappeared not far from the Bahamas. Jones wrote about how the disappearance of ships, airplanes, and small boats, I think, was a mystery, nicknaming the region where they went missing the Devil's Triangle. A few years after, in 1952, a writer for Fate magazine published an article explaining that the zone experiences strange maritime disappearances. Well, we don't really care about when it was coined. Looks into the mystery. The fact that no traces have been discovered to date has added fuel to the mystery and in itself is a rare case. A documentary about the missing Navy squadron of the History Channel noted that a pilot could easily confuse his location if he allows his imagination to control his reason. The generally accepted explanation by naval and civilian enthusiasts who have thoroughly investigated the disappearance of the squadron suggests that Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the flight leader, became disoriented, taking his crew to the open sea where they ran out of fuel and landed in stormy waters during the night. Although the student pilots probably knew their flight leader was wrong in his decision or his location, Lieutenant Taylor was the flight leader and was in charge, and orders were followed. A 500-page Navy Board investigation report issued a few months later made numerous observations, among which the most significant were the following. Flight leader Charles Taylor mistakenly thought the small islands of the squadron had flown over were the Florida Keys, and that his flight was over the Gulf of Mexico, and that heading northeast would take them to Florida. It was concluded that Taylor had passed over the Bahamas as scheduled, and he did in fact lead his flight to the northeast over the Atlantic. The report noted that subordinate officers likely knew their approximate position, as indicated by radio transmissions stating that flying west would result in reaching the mainland. Why did their compass stop working? Apparently the compasses stopped working. The Navy report suggests that the compasses aboard the airplanes stopped working for reasons that remain unclear, which has likely caused the confusion among the pilots. It's estimated that in the last 100 years, around 10 million ships, 100,000 per year, have passed through the so-called Bermuda Triangle, and it's believed that since the 19th century, 50 ships and 20 planes have disappeared, although the exact number remains a mystery. That's a lot, Jimmy. I don't know. Maybe it's not that many if you're considering 100,000 per year and 10 million ships total. What do you think?
It seems such a specific area though, and it's not like it's big, but it's still pretty small considering the entire ocean for that many. It just seems too specific.
It does. It does seem really specific for that area to be the area that causes these problems, Why wouldn't...
And it's all generally kind of the same stories. Like we had a compass failure, we got completely redirected, there was a vortex, a lot of that. We ended up in Florida. It's always kind of the same details.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I don't know. Florida does seem to have some anomalies, though. Talking to that author, he was very, very interesting and very knowledgeable. And He'd been on many shows and interviewed and TV and radio, and I was really blown away by the guy. He was incredible. Despite popular beliefs, the U.S. Coast Guard and other sources cite statistics indicating that the number of incidents involve lost planes and ships is not greater than in other parts of the world with that amount of traffic, similar to the region surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. While it has been shown that many supposed mysteries were not such when analyzed in detail, having inaccuracies circulating for decades, experts have never properly explained many disappearances involving the Bermuda Triangle. So here's some explanations as cited by this article. Atlantis. Some writers and people argue that precisely at the heart of the Bermuda Triangle lies a mysterious, long-lost civilization mentioned by the Greek writers in antiquity. They believe that the remnants of a powerful and technologically advanced city-state known as Atlantis are located exactly where the ships and airplanes have gone missing, and that their disappearance is attributed to anomalies produced by the sunken remains of Atlantis. Far-fetched? Maybe. I don't know where Atlantis is, but I've heard that there are several that believe it's there. Next up is aliens. This is probably people's favorite. Many writers have suggested that the Bermuda Triangle is home to underwater UFO bases and that UFOs control the area. This suggests that the ships and airplanes that have gone missing were actually kidnapped by UFOs. The reason why they have never been found again. Although this theory may sound ludicrous, the fact that UFOs exist and are real phenomena has been proven in recent years thanks to countless declassified documents and even Navy videos. Next one is air bombs. Oh, we don't want that. A more scientific explanation, NASA discovered empty hexagonal clouds, honeycomb clouds, exist in this area just above the Bermuda Triangle. These weird clouds supposedly produce air bombs of several kilometers in diameter that would produce micro-combustion that would generate winds more than 270 kilometers per hour and waves up to 14 meters high. It is believed that these air bombs are very powerful downdrafts of air that can overpower airplanes and ships, taking them down and causing them to disappear. You ever heard of air bombs before, Jimmy?
No, I have not. I'm not familiar with that.
Me either. I normally am not either, but now I know what air bombs are. I guess they're just some kind of weather event where there's explosive downdrafts, creating honeycomb clouds, apparently. Which also
there wasn't enough to be scared of.
Yeah, I know. Now there's some more, right? Good point. All right, the last up is magnetic anomalies. Another theory that explains the numerous disappearances is magnetism. Many airplanes and ships reports having issues with their compass, causing them to become lost and disoriented before disappearing, giving rise to a theory of electronic fog. That's what he called it, electronic fog. That's from the guy I interviewed, electronic fog. Or the appearance of a magnetic vortex that causes systems aboard ships and airplanes to fail. However, it has been proven that compasses continue to point north within the triangle. Yeah, but this electronic fog event isn't happening then, and he talked about it. See, the guy I interviewed was a pilot, as I mentioned. What the hell was that? Something chirped. I don't know what that was. Ooh. Something did something. Oh. What happened? Oh, shoot. I just bumped the TV thing. So dang it. Well, take it away, Jimmy. Let me go check this cord quick. Just what do you think of the Bermuda Triangle? I mean, do you think it could be any one of these, or what do you think? Is it an anomaly, or is it just people being afraid?
I think it could be any one of them, but I just watched an episode of The Unexplained with William Shatner on this, and I heard a very compelling theory that it's connected to, I think it was like 9 other, I think it was on the Entrances to Hell episode or something like that.
Oh.
And it was it was something, it coincides with like 10 other spots on Earth, and they all kind of bounce around the globe. But if you put them on a map, I'm looking for it right now, but if you put them on a map, it encompasses the entire globe.
Oh,
what is that? Is it the ley lines?
Maybe.
William Shatner does not let me down on that show. So
no, he's got a great show.
I trust him.
I trust him too.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just go to break quick while I try to fix this. I think I just got to go to the other side here and replug that in. I guess I must have jerked it out. So that didn't sound right, did it, Jimmy? I mean, it must
Finally a
have
chance to show
inadvertently,
tunes.
yeah, inadvertently pulled the cord. So hold on a sec, folks, because it's annoying the hell out of me to have the portal effect in my face as I'm trying to read. So let me just go to a quick break, enjoy the musings of my music and a little video. I'll be right back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to play their best. They don't understand the price I pay. They don't care to comprehend. Traces of lights on my body, the things come across.
All right, got it fixed. There you go. Had you seen that before, Jimmy?
Yes, yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, that's a song I wrote years and years ago, Wild Man's Mom. It's just, I guess it was about 2012-ish. Yeah, it's called Emotional Buffet. It's a good, I like it. It was a good song. But yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I used to play it on the shows all the time. Chucky's right. That's kind of a blast from the past. And yeah, what is this? Oh, RJ Windwalker. Yo, there's an idea. If we ever did meet up, we should bring some band stuff and get Brent on stage. I'll bring my bass. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I used to do a ton of covers back in the day with my band, which was called Wood, W-U-D with the umlauts above the U, Wood.
Love it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was just, we'd play clubs and stuff back in Minnesota, but it was fun. I really liked it, but I really like writing my own music the most. That to me is the biggest kick. But Rachel's got bongos. There you go, Rachel. Everybody needs bongos. You can also play some cowbell.
I did dibs the tambourine, so I'll say that out loud too.
Jimmy's got the tambourine. We got us a band, folks. I'm ready. We can go on tour. That sounds great. But that's why we don't do the Ouija board. You see that last part of the video, the Zozo thing?
Yeah.
It's creepy. That's a creepy thing.
Yep.
That's pretty creepy.
Nothing to do with Ouija boards.
Chucky's playing tablespoons. There you go. You can be the spoon man. Chucky can be the spoon man.
We got percussion down.
Yep. Absolutely. That's fine. Yeah, cool. That would be fun. Actually, David Barnes is a really great musician too. He's one of our regulars here, and he's a songwriter. He'll often send me songs he's written. It's really very, very much like Stone Temple Pilots, and the music he writes is really good.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very cool. He's got a real talent. Zozo my bozo. Yes. I shouldn't have read that out loud. Some people think Zozo is based on the demon Pazuzu, which
that's what I thought too. Yeah.
But they say don't name demons, because there's a belief that if you name them, you could be calling them to you. So I'm hereby not summoning anything. I read an email last night from a listener, Jim, and it was from Australia, and she talked about how she listened to my podcast, loves my podcast, but for some reason only my show, of all the podcasts she listens to, has audio glitches and stuff. Like it'll play out of order, like the last part will play first, and it'll quit playing midway and nothing else will be there. And just strange things. The timer will be all wrong, and say the show's over and there's still playing after that. It's he's got all kinds of glitches, but only my show.
That's so creepy. It's things like this. This is why I stopped listening to it alone in my basement.
I honestly, and this is sincere, and it's kind of troubling to me, because I don't ever want to propagate negative experiences, and that's never been the scope of the show. By talking about this stuff, I always have a fun time doing it, and we keep it light. And even the podcast, I don't get all dark and creepy. We just, I listen to people and then talk to them about their experiences. But I don't know that anything unique is going on in my show, but it does worry me, because I do get emails from people. And even last night in the chat, there were a few people like, yeah, I've had weird stuff happen when I listen to your show. And so I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's my show. I don't know what's going on, dude. But it's kind of freaky, because it's like, well, I really don't want to propagate that for people. I don't want it to be a negative experience. I want it to be a fun, light, heartwarming experience discussing these mysteries. But, there again, maybe it's, again, people interested in the subject, and then weird stuff starts happening, and so it's freaky. Much like the cryptid thing we were discussing on the question of the week. Are we sure we understand what's going on? Because I think spirits have a very limited way of communicating, and one way that, of course, they do is making sounds or making things move, And I had this one person like, yeah, I was listening to your show, and you were talking about ghostly stuff, and suddenly this picture that's been up on my wall for like 15 years leaped off the wall. He said that's never happened, and it started happening. And other people talk about hearing noises while they're listening to my show. It's like, oh no, oh no, I don't want that to be people's experience. I
think you may have actually opened up a portal.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I think there's ideas that if you talk about something, maybe it does create a resonance, because we're thinking and talking about something very, sometimes very in depth on this show, but maybe that's creates an awareness in them of us talking, and they come and see what's going on. I never started the ghost radar, did I? I never started.
No, I think it might be the law of attraction.
Yeah, exactly. I should probably start it. What's the date? The 11th today?
The 10th.
The 10th. February 10th. I should have known that. I should have known a lot of things, but we'll start the Ghost Radar as I'm talking about it, see if anybody shows up. But anyway, yeah, very cool. So, and we keep coming back. Yep. Come on, Brent, let's go. What are we going? Where are we going?
Let's go.
Dirty Birdie says, come on, Brent, let's go. Oh, you mean to get the band together? Or I don't know if Dirty Birdie's talking about that, but Dirty Birdie, that's a new name. Thank you so much for stopping in. I don't think I've seen you before, but you're welcome to join and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. And we'd love to have you stick around and become part of this journey, I guess. But anyway, that was the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know. We'd almost never talk about that. So I don't know if it's as much of an anomaly as it once was. For some reason, there was a period of time where it seemed like a lot of stuff was going on, but maybe that's just, the reporting. It just became sensationalized too. I don't know. But
I just saw something this week about it. It was I think they recovered something that they thought was Amelia Earhart's plane.
Oh, right. I did see a mention of that too. I don't recall what it said though. I might even have covered it on the show. Was it around Australia? Was it?
Where was it? Oh, it's all pop-ups on my. Let's see. Yeah, it was. They did. It said. Well, actually, this one's just asking if they found. Well, that's what I'm asking too.
We all want to know. God.
Yeah, I mean, the Bermuda Triangle. It scares me. Everything unknown scares me.
And here you are, Jimmy, co-hosting on a paranormal show. Man, you got steel spheres down there, brother.
I like being scared. I don't know.
Okay, well there you go. I mean, that's a fair assessment. I guess it's about time to get to the cryptids. What do you say, brother?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's about time for some cryptids, and I still haven't made a transition screen for this, so it's just going to be me saying it's cryptid time. Time's for cryptids. Cryptid time. And here we go. We're going to start out with one new one from Sasquatch Chronicles. Wes heard my prayer and posted another listener email. And this was from today, February 10th. And this is, again, from SasquatchChronicles.com. And please visit this site. Check out all of the stories he's got posted. They're incredible. And he shares a lot of other people's shows and stuff. And it's a great resource to catch other people's, what they're doing. You can introduce yourself to a lot of shows just by visiting Wes's site because, he's not one of those guys that just sticks to his own stuff. He posts whatever he finds interesting, which I think is really cool. So, all right, Sasquatch Chronicles blog is right now in Sasquatch Chronicles, February 10th. Strange activity at my off-grid cabin. A listener writes, I live in an off-grid cabin near the Buffalo River, surrounded on three sides by the National Forest. My driveway is a mile long, and my nearest full-time resident neighbor is 3/4 a mile away as the way the crow flies. I've lived here for 3 years with just my 2 dogs. For the first few months, we had no power at all, and I would spend my evenings reading by battery-powered lights. It started with something slapping my cabin on the southeast corner. And this is the spare bedroom, which is not used but for storage. My cabin is approximately 950 square feet. The slap was hard enough to make my dogs pay attention, as well as move cookware near the stove. Man, what is he built? What is it built with?
Yeah, seriously.
My Lego house. Yeah, it's my cardboard Lego house. My son and his fiancée visited me shortly after I moved here. I took them to a swimming hole about 1/4 mile west of me, and they were enjoying lounging in the pool, and I walked further west along the creek to give them some privacy. And I found a small sandbar on a trail coming out of the woods. There was a distinct footprint in the sand, and it was only about 8 inches long, but it was clearly barefoot. Strange because the trail was from bottomland full of all kinds of undergrowth. The toes were splayed out, not like a normal track. Midway on the track was a ridge, not like a human track walking in the sand. The location and type of track piqued my interest tremendously. Yeah, the ridge would have been from the mid-tarsal hinge or break. Yeah, because the flexing, ours flex at the ball of the foot, but it's believed due to the weight of a Sasquatch that hinge is more in the middle of the foot. That's where theirs flexes. And it said the tracks or the slaps at the cabin would happen periodically, and each time both my dogs would sit up and face towards the noise. I have a blue and red heeler, and they normally bark at any wildlife, deer, elk, or bear. They never made a sound when the slap happened. I live on 30 acres, so there's room for my dogs to roam, and strangely, on certain mornings, they will not leave within a few yards of the porch. They wait for me to walk out with them before they will relieve themselves. Not every day, mind you, but occasionally. Both also are very keenly interested in smelling certain spots around the front of my cabin. I put up motion-activated solar lights around the front of the cabin and the porch, and I also wired my cabin to run off a generator while I prepared for a solar system. Each night before bed, I take my dogs out and turn off the generator. I'd been in my cabin for about 8 months at this point. Slaps on the cabin, my dogs not willing to venture far, had been the norm. One night I went out to turn the power off and let the dogs do their business was the first sounds. I live in a holler, so I am surrounded by ridges. I turned the generator off, and a few seconds later I heard a loud whoop to the north, and then the east, the south, and then the west. 4 distinct whoop sounds around us. My dogs ran to the porch immediately without making a sound. The whoops would happen 2 or 3 times a week. This occurred late summer, fall, and winter. The second year was no different until the fall. I was accustomed to the whoops and whistles by this point. Your listeners won't believe me, but one night I walked outside after a slap on the cabin and yelled into the darkness to leave me and the dogs alone. Sounds odd, but it is what I did. I've not had any slaps on the cabin since then. Why? Who knows? Then the acorns and small stones started. My bedroom is on the northeast corner of the cabin. The front of the cabin is on stilts, so my window is not at ground level. And there's an eye over my window. An eave, my eyes, over the window. And I woke one morning to something being thrown at the half window over my bed. The window was open, but there's a screen. It sounded like acorns or small stones. The Ozarks have a ton of rocks. My dog stood up in bed, which woke me up. I listened for the next few minutes as something bounced off my window. This is about 10 in the morning. Wow, he's sleeping in. The sound was steady, and after I realized it wasn't a squirrel or the wind, I got up and walked outside. The sound ended immediately. This has happened numerous times. I've been awoken several nights to a foul odor. I can only describe as rancid dog mixed with spoiled laundry. Again, my dogs woke me up to it. The smell lasted about 10 minutes and then just dissipated. One afternoon during the winter, I was reading on my couch and happened to catch movement on the north side of my cabin through the bay window. All the leaves were fallen so I could see up the north ridge, which is full of mature cedar trees. There was no wind blowing. I saw a single mature cedar tree swaying side to side, approximately 125 yards in front of me. And I watched for several minutes through binoculars, but could not see the base of the tree. All I could see was it was a mature tree and no wind. Around the same time, my dogs woke up in the middle of the night by sitting up, and I was not happy since sleep is rare, but soon heard what they were listening to. I heard 2 people walking towards the east of the cabin. It sounded like 2 deaf people talking, and it continued for several minutes. I don't know how else to describe what I heard, but it wasn't chatter nor was it mumbling. I realize this is a long email and realize you must get so many, so my apologies. I found a track in my front yard and periodically hear tree knocks. I spoke with my neighbor about these incidents, and they have also experienced similar things. One evening, we three actually heard them together. They are not here all the time, or at least they don't tell me they are. I used to feed out of corn feeders and had game cameras up, but no longer do that either. At this point, I've taken the position of live and let live. Wow. I mean, it's not extraordinarily intimidating, but I don't know. It almost seems like they want him to know they're there. Right?
Yeah, that is what it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems kind of contrary, but I don't know. Maybe if people show up in their areas, that's what they do. They're like, well, you're not alone here. This is ours. And I mean, it's not incredibly aggressive. It's not like they are saying, get the hell out. They're just like, maybe it's curiosity. I don't know. What's your take, Jimmy?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, curiosity is kind of the vibe I got where, I think if they wanted to do some damage, they wouldn't be throwing acorns and pine cones. So it does seem more like kind of just poking the beast and seeing what's out there.
Right. Right. Like it's just this intrepid curiosity where they just got to know. Who is it? What do they do? How do they react to stuff like this? Like they're always examining. And I don't know if it's a build up to something or not, but it sounds like it's just kind of leveled off at that's the activity. It happens sometimes it doesn't. And back where I lived, I don't think they were there all the time, but I think maybe they travel through, maybe they come through at a certain time, and that's where I was growled at. But it was, later in the summer when I was growled at. I think, it was late summer. We were on summer break as kids, but it was most of the time I'd been playing up in those woods forever, my whole life, and never thought a thing of it. But I know that it's, as a younger kid, I wasn't allowed up there by myself ever. But then as I got older, I would just venture up there and check things out. I used to have a favorite spot that I'd go sit, and I really loved it up there. It was very, very beautiful and very peaceful. But, there were times when after I was growled at where I just couldn't go back for quite a while. And I guess
that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you're growled at, it's like, okay, I guess I'm not welcome. I should probably not be here. But over time I did end up going back in, but I really don't think they were there all the time. I just think they were there some of the time. And so that's why I don't know that they migrate necessarily, but I think their range is pretty robust and huge. And as
that's what I was.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go on. I was going to ask now, are they supposed to be nomadic or migratory or anything like that?
No, I mean, it's been suggested that they might be, but I think most people believe that they're generally within a range. But I mean, if you consider like a grizzly bear's habitat can be, a couple hundred square miles, and so that's a pretty huge area. And I think they cover it like a circuit throughout the year, if anything. So I don't think they're truly migratory, but I think that they do move around. They'll go to an area and eat things, and then when that's about done, then they'll move to a second area and third area, or however many areas they have established within this range where things grow. And I think they know, but so that's why I don't think people generally have things happening all the time. I suppose there's some areas where there's just so much they don't need to move, but where I grew up, there's woods, but there's also a lot of agriculture. So these woods are very broken up by fields and stuff. So I think they stick to the woods and maybe, really move around a lot more in those areas, or they subsist off the agriculture. Like, when the corn is ready, maybe they go out and just grab some and, and have their fill, or livestock or whatever. I don't know. I can only guess, but that's just my take on it. I think it's pretty powerful though.
I like Maggie said, do you think it's for attention? Maybe they find it funny. Absolutely. That is what I'd like to think, is that they're just messing with us.
Right. I mean, it could be, or they're just gauging reactions. Like, what do they do when we do this? And maybe it's just so that they know who's on their land. Like they're familiar with you. And I think the intelligence is what's impressive, because they do really seem to very carefully examine situations. Like they remain out of sight, but yet they let you know they're there, but they don't let you see them. And they just ramp it up over a period of time just to maybe gauge your reactions. Maybe they're, seeing, if you're going to act aggressive or I don't know. I just am not sure. It's all
I mean,
speculation.
yeah, and they definitely wouldn't be the only animal to. I mean, they say great white sharks can, if they get a taste for blood, they'll scope out their prey
Sure.
over a period of even months. So it's, I mean, it's
Oh.
not crazy to think that they could be out there just watching.
Sure. I mean, God, I hope it's not a precursor to something like that. They're super intelligent. They throw small stones, pebbles, and small sticks as a warning to leave their territory. If you don't hop to it, they'll up the ante and throw bigger objects. Yes. Yep. I think you're absolutely right. Heard many stories like that. And I've always said it's like psychological warfare because they're not actually attacking, but they keep ramping up the stress for the people there. And they ramp it up almost scientifically. It's just incredible. Like Huru is saying in Huru 2024, accuracy and lethalness. Yeah, with far more accuracy and lethalness. But that starts out with noises. You hear something walking around, but you can't see it. And then, it might be pebbles. It might be sounds, tree knocks, whoops, things like that. And then it might be a tree breaks and stuff in the area of where you are, and which is impressive and intimidating as hell. And then it ramps up to, stones, pebbles, sticks, logs, boulders. I mean, it's crazy. But they do this over a period of time. And when you're sleeping, they don't let you sleep, when people are trying to sleep. So it is like psychological warfare because the people that are involved don't know where it is, what it is. And their anxiety goes up and up and up and up and up till let's go. Let's get out of here. We got to get out of here now. So it's so methodical. And I'm so impressed by that. I really am, because that really does denote intelligence. To me, it does.
Absolutely. No, that is absolutely what I think it means.
Yep. That's interesting. Rachel says, if you can juggle the thrown stones, they might go, huh? Yeah.
Congratulations, you've passed the test. You can hang out with us.
You may stay. We enjoyed that. Try these logs. So I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Very cool. They must leave the forest when I show up. It could be. I mean, I don't think we probably can ever enter the forest without them knowing that we're there. I mean, just think of everything seems to know. I mean, God, the way crows follow you around and caulk. It's like, geez, everything knows you're there once a crow shows up. Jeez, they are just obnoxious. We always have that when I'm mushroom hunting up here. Ravens, the same. Yeah.
Yep.
They are just noisy birds. So, and I'm sure that they have other signs that they know of. I mean, animals know when you're in their forest. So I don't.
Absolutely.
Like they can hear a squirrel chatter from a way. I think their hearing is probably exceptional. So I think their sense of smell and hearing is way above ours by a long shot. They can probably smell us if the air is right. They can hear us because we are not graceful in the woods. No matter how good you are in the woods compared to wildlife, we are clumsy. We're awkward. We're slow. We're deliberate. Whereas,
loud.
Yeah, loud. And animals are graceful and do real well. So we're not on the same page. So I think they know. Yeah, I definitely know when someone is in my house. Exactly, SoCal.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Good parallel.
Yep. I mean, the amount of times I go bird hunting during the fall, and I mean, the amount of times like we go out very early in the morning, and sometimes we will, as quietly as we can, shut the door, and you'll see like 3 birds flush out halfway down the field, and you're like, oh, okay. We're not sneaky at all.
Yeah, we're not surprising them today. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they bring the silence with them. There's that too. Wildman's mom's talking about that dead silence. The wood just goes quiet when they're around.
Yeah.
And I've said it many times on the show. I've heard that silence. I don't know that it was Bigfoot. I have no idea. It could have been a big predator. I don't know, but something was freaking out a dog of a friend of mine. He was away on trip, and his wife was home with their baby up in the mountains, and he asked, could I go out, or she asked if I'd come up and check it out, because their German Shepherd would not settle down, which is really uncharacteristic. I got up there and got the dog to shut up, and once he did, the whole area was dead quiet. Nothing, not even crickets, which blew my mind, because what the hell does a bug know? But even they shut up for some reason, and it's crazy to me, but everything just shuts the hell up when something like that is around, and I don't know what it was. Never saw a thing, never heard a thing, just suddenly, after about 10, 15 minutes of me just standing there walking around the house. And all I did was grab a stick. It's like, I got nothing. I'm going to grab at least a stick. So I just had this big walking stick and was walking around the house and looking and couldn't see anything. And then I just sat on the patio and just waited and listened and watched, and nothing happened. But slowly the crickets started, the tree frogs a little bit in the distance started. And it was like, okay. It's like everything held its breath is all I can say.
Yeah.
It was like that.
That's horrifying.
That dead quiet is just creepy. It's like everything in the forest shuts up.
Yep. I've been in that, not in the forest. I've been in that in Wyoming. So I think that's just a naturally occurring silence, but there's something so much creepier almost about the silence than,
Yes. Yeah.
Hearing. It just leaves so much up to your imagination.
Sure. And maybe in some cases it's spiritual that can have that same effect, but God only knows. But I'm just here to tell you that I was like, my head was on a swivel, just trying to, because I want to see whatever's come, and nothing happened. It was just suddenly the sounds came back and life resumed. It was like, oh, thank God. And
that's so much creepier that they came back too, because it justifies that it was an eerie silence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. It was just slowly, in the distance, I heard a cricket start chirping, and then a tree frog, and then the ones around me started making noise again. It's like, oh, okay, good. I think it's done, whatever it was.
Oh, just like the silence is passing through.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I will say in those same woods, I and a friend of mine were driving up that woods, and the house is like 3 miles away from the nearest road, and it's up a logging road basically. It's just isolated up there. Same place I saw the UFO years earlier, but it was while I lived here, and we were driving up there, and there's this flat part that has like the stream running by the road. And suddenly we both saw this huge mass shadow passing through the woods. It wasn't like one figure or many. It was just like a big shadow passing through the woods. And I saw it, and I was like, I'm not going to say nothing. And he said, my God, did you see that? And I'm like, I saw a big shadow. And he goes, yeah. Did you see that? And I was like, yeah, I did. He's like, what the hell was that? And I was like, I don't know. Because I really didn't know.
Boys.
Yeah, I really didn't know what it was, but it's a true story. Hand to God, we both saw it.
Oof.
I just know he said it. I don't know what it could have been, because it would have been the size of what, like a semi truck. It was just huge, and it
couldn't have been like a plane or anything going over.
No, and the speed that it went was deliberate, but it wasn't like, fast. It was just like that, and it moved, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And to this day, I don't know what it is, because even though I've been looking into this for years and years and years and years, nothing's ever crossed my radar like that before. So it was a very unique experience. Maybe it's a dark entity. I don't know. Hell,
that's
whatever
horrifying.
It was really creepy, but it was just gone. I don't know. It just moved and was gone. But it wasn't like close. It was like off in the distance, like by 100 yards. The forest is old growth, so you could see, and it was like just this wall of shadow moving through. It was like, I don't know what that is, but it wasn't like a cloud or anything. It didn't have anything else coming through. It was just that one time. Creepy though.
That's terrifying. Yeah, absolutely. So SoCal Squatcher said the dead quiet phenomenon happens with alien encounters too, from my understanding, and that totally checks out with the Wyoming place I was talking about, because the places that they took us to experience the eerie silence were the cattle mutilation sites that they had experienced. So that's pretty terrifying to think.
Yeah, that is creepy. I don't know if you watched Skinwalker Ranch ever, but they had that cow that was mutilated in the first season. And it was like the second season that they revisit that, and nothing, no predators have touched that carcass where they dragged it, which is incredibly unusual. Nothing touched it. It was just like almost mummified.
That's exactly the people that we were talking to. They first of all, they believe in it wholeheartedly. They literally act based around cattle mutilation existing. And then the other thing they said was, aside from the no blood, no footprints, was that if they don't clean it up, nothing comes to clean it up.
Right. You can't just go, well, it's a free meal for the coyotes. Nope, nothing will come to it.
Yeah.
Nothing will touch it. So something has happened to that object that makes it unedible, even to insects. Like they don't bother with it. Yeah. So whatever it is, man, I don't know, but that's creepy as hell. Wow. How about that? I think we got time for One more story from maybe Phantoms and Monsters. Let's see what I got
Oh,
here.
yeah.
What I got here, let me put it up here while I fish. Oh, this one, how big is this one? Oh, this one's pretty long. I don't think we got time for that. Jeez, that's a big one, Lon. Lon Strickler is at it, ladies and gentlemen, always putting amazing stuff over on Phantoms and Monsters. And I'm just trying to find the one. I think this one's not so bad. I think we can do this one. All right, this is another cryptid. One that we don't hear much about at all, but they do come up. It does come up. I don't know what you guys think of this, but this one is from February 8th, phantomsandmonsters.com. Check out Lon's site. Thousands of encounter stories he's posted on there, along with research that they do into different Fortean topics, including the Mothman, Dogman, Bigfoot, etc. And it's also the repository, a location where you can find Lon's published works. Again, Lon Strickler. And links to his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And it's also a YouTube channel, so definitely go over there and check it out. When Lon does his streams, he talks about these stories, and it's really interesting because you get a lot, his take on it and his, extra information that maybe wasn't published. So very cool show. This one is from February 8th, and it is huge bipedal lizard man confronts and communicates with Ukrainian woman. Whoa. Lizard men. Jimmy, you ever hear stories of lizard men?
I have, yes, and they're always fantastic.
Yeah, they're a bit creepy though, aren't they? Again,
They are, yeah.
that might be another place where, the question of the week comes in hand. Oh, it looks different, but doesn't mean it's evil. Remember that. A Ukrainian woman was lying in the beach sunning herself and dozing off when she suddenly awoke. She was terrified to see a huge bipedal lizard-like being near her. A young woman named Irina B. was living in a countryside cottage and was visiting a secluded beach on the banks of the Dnieper River in Poltava region of Ukraine. She frequented the area often and knew it well. Her favorite area was an isolated small inlet covered with sandy beaches and bushes. The area had numerous gaping holes or crevices all around, some of them quite large and possibly artificially made by the locals. On this day, she was lying on the beach sunning herself and dozing off when she suddenly awoke with the feeling that someone was staring at her. She opened her eyes and was terrified to see a huge bipedal lizard-like being, about 2 meters in height and covered in greenish scales, standing very close to her. Terrified, she wasn't able to scream and waited for the worst to happen, but suddenly she heard a voice inside her head. "Don't be afraid. My rations do not include albumin, which is protein. I'm not going to eat you." The witness was not sure if the mysterious voice spoke in Russian, but she distinctly understood everything that was said. The voice seemed to have correctly anticipated her apprehension. How is this possible, was her only thought, and the voice answered her immediately. Nothing unusual, simple telepathy. She sat on her towel, looking at the huge lizard being looming over her. The voice inside her head once again reacted to her thoughts and said, "You are afraid of my appearance. That can be corrected." Then in the blink of an eye, she saw the most beautiful young man she'd ever seen in her life. "How did you do that?" she asked in amazement, now feeling more curious than afraid. In a moment she received the answer, "Easily. What you want to see. I simply compel you to see what you want." They both began communicating using telepathy. The lizard man told an amazing story. Apparently, he was a criminal on his planet, and the other species on his planet had wanted to punish him. But he had succeeded in escaping and had been wandering all over the galaxy for a long time, hiding from bounty hunters that were chasing him. But for some time now, one of these holes at the beach had become his shelter. But he was now tired of hiding and wanted to be found and punished. He had evidently been observing her every time she had come to the beach for a while. She reminded him of his home planet, where the creatures also liked the sun and the water. He just wanted to chat with her since he had been an outcast from his planet for so long. At the end of the conversation, the lizard man told Irina that he would erase her memory of, or her brain would not sustain such huge volumes of new information and would explode. Oof. He promised that it wouldn't be painful, and suddenly everything around her was encased in a bluish light. And horrified, she watched the body of the lizard being dissolved into nothingness. And next, she lost consciousness. She was briefly reported missing, and a search was organized to find her. Her parents and neighbors found her the next day on the beach. She was found lying on the sand, bleeding from her nose and one ear. The doctors at the hospital were puzzled, thinking she might have had a brain hemorrhage, and she was considered to be alive only by a miracle. The witness insists that she did not invent the story, even though she is aware that it sounds like the ravings of a lunatic. Wow. What do you make of that? It's apparently the source was letter from the witness in Interesnaya Gazeta, D Block, which is Kyiv, Ukraine, number 4, March 2006. What do you think of that one, Jimmy?
That sounds like your pretty run-of-the-mill Mark Zuckerberg encounter.
So instead of hiding, he founded Facebook.
You won't remember me, but you will get metaverse.
That could be it.
That's wild. I mean, I don't know. The lizard people, there's something like, I really don't know if I want to believe in them, because it scares me when I start to think about them. All the lore behind them, that they could just be walking among us right now and all of that. It's too much for me to want to imagine exists on Earth. They're too conscious to be walking around.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough sell, especially him just coming out and being like, well, you remind me of people from my planet. I'm alone. I was a criminal being chased by bounty hunters. I mean, that doesn't really instill a lot of confidence right off the bat. First, you're seeing a lizard, and now you know he's a criminal. So it's like, well,
exactly.
It's 2 marks against this guy.
Unless his only crime was loving too much.
Yeah, poor soul. His heart was too big for his universe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe his heart was too big for his universe. But at any rate, there you go. That's a lizard man. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Now, the question is, if her mind was erased, how did she write that? How did that happen?
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
So
he must not have been good at it.
That's what his crime was. He sucked at mind erasing.
Yeah. SoCal Squatcher said everything else has ended up being real, Jimmy. Give in to the lizard, obey. Are you a lizard man, SoCal Squatcher? Because that sounds exactly like what they'd say.
That sounds like a lizard man. Yep, you just showed your hand. That's crazy, though. I mean, it's a wild report. Could it be true? I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've read weirder on this show, believe it or not. A lot weirder. And I've read a lot of untrue stories. But I would always comment that at the end of reading them. It's like, I don't believe this. You know, again, how do I know? Well, you know, with most phenomena, there's a way that things occur that seem to occur consistently in 99% of the stories. And then you'll get a story that's just like, what? This doesn't follow any of what everyone else reports, you know, and maybe they're the only ones telling the truth and the other people are lying. I don't know, but all I can do is just go by, you know, my gut on it. It's like, I don't think this is legit, but anyway, I still love the stories. That one could be true. I've heard reports of lizard people many, many times through the years. Again, it's not real common to see, you know, people experiencing them, but it does happen. And who am I to judge, right, Jimmy?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like lizard people are here.
Yeah. And
we have some idea, but I don't know. It's crazy to me to think that if, you know, aliens exist and they aren't already here. And why wouldn't it be the lizard people?
Sure. And why not any other number? I mean, the Nordics, which apparently look like us already, but some reports say
I have a couple friends, that might be Nords.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they about 7 feet tall then? Or
yes. Yep. They all kind of look like Thor.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, could be. Where do you think Thor came from, or Odin and all those? Maybe they were Nordics.
Yep.
Right.
Every one of them loves Skyrim too, so checks out.
Yeah, Yeah, could be. Isn't there lizard people in Skyrim too?
There are. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Ah, there you have
based
it.
on a true story.
So either they're Nordics or lizard people, Jimmy.
Yep.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, brother. Got to look
They
at
got
all.
nothing on the Khajiit, the cat people.
That's true. That's very true too. So I don't know. We're about at the end of our journey tonight. Can you believe it?
Yeah, that flew by tonight.
It really did. I hope you had a good time, Jimmy.
Absolutely. I always have a great time.
Oh, good. I enjoy when you can be here too. And I got to tell you, just having a co-host it makes my job a lot easier, because otherwise I'm trying to bounce and do everything. And it's nice when like you're watching the chat and responding to that. And I'm reading stories to entertain you all. So I hope you all had a good time. Remember, if you're not a member of the Discord, become a member of the Discord. Here's why. I'm doing a t-shirt giveaway. And we do them generally every month. I didn't do January because of health reasons, but started up again. There's a thread in Discord. Maybe if I just put it up on the screen, it's easier rather than describing it. If you join the Discord, here it is on screen. Over here is the threads. These are what I call threads. Maybe other people call discussions, and apparently Discord calls them discussions. So I'm the only one that says threads apparently. But anyway, this is the giveaways. And this is where you want to focus on. And up here, I did a hey everybody, it's time once again for a Discord t-shirt giveaway. If you haven't won already, let me know in this thread if you'd like to enter to win. Good luck, everyone. And so I've got quite a few entries so far, but certainly we got room for more. And the end of this next week, I think is when we'll do the drawing. I'll have the minion come down. We'll put all the names in a hat. And we'll draw a winner and make a little video we'll post on this thread. So keep your eyes on the thread if you are signed up. And if you're not signed up, get over to the thread and get signed up. And if you're not on the Discord, get on the Discord, then get over to the thread, then get signed up. Because you could win a Paranormal Portal t-shirt. What does that look like? Well, let me see. Let me show you what it looks like. Because one fantastic version of this is modeled by our good friend, Mr. Neil Alberding is wearing one of the hoodies. This says Paranormal Portal across the front of it. Handsome devil. And then, of course, we've got Chucky Danger sporting the t-shirt. This is what we're giving away. Looks like this. And Chucky also bought a hoodie. He's a big sporter. If you're looking to buy a hoodie or something else, go to the link that's in the description on YouTube below the video. Shows the Discord link, or not the Discord link, but the Teespring link to our gear, our what do they call it? I forgot. What do you call this? Oh, actually, Barbara bought the gator. That's the Paranormal Portal podcast gator. So we got lots of stuff over there on Teespring site. Love to have you join to win a t-shirt. Love for you to win. I hope all of you win eventually, but we'll just keep giving them away every month. So you can get signed up. I'll post my pic on Discord. Please do, Maggie. Absolutely. Love to see you in your gear too. All you guys, when you win gear, go over on Discord, post your picture. I'll maybe start a new thread that just has, our handsome bunch. You never know, but yeah, you can put it in the apparel or wherever you want. But that's where I know to look, because that's where several pictures are. So anyway, and now also, if you're on the Discord, look at the digital marketplace here, because of course the actual Discord or the Teespring link is in this thread for apparel. Then there's crystals and jewelry, and then there's miscellaneous sales. If you are a creative person and you craft things that you like to sell, like on Etsy or whatever, just put a thread in here. Put a thread letting people know what you got. I know we've gotten, some people have purchased, some of our community have purchased from other people in the community. So I just thought that was really cool. You guys are, helping each other out and supporting each other's passion. So that's always available, and you can go check it out. So, Jimmy, anything in closing for tonight? What do you think? Any words of wisdom or things you'd like to leave the audience with?
Words of wisdom. Oh, I'm out of wisdom tonight. I have no wisdom, but have a great night, everybody. I love you all.
Awesome. And yeah, I love you all too. Thank you all for joining us tonight on this journey. Portal mug. Yeah. Thank you, Maggie, for the portal mug purchase as well. That's awesome. So remember, SoCal says, I love my portal gear. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, SoCal. Love all your supports. And thank you so much for for doing what you guys do to keep the lights on here, whether it's just showing up for the streams. If you're a channel member, you're amazing. If you're showing up for the streams, you're amazing. If you're liking the videos, you're amazing. If you're commenting on videos after they're live, you're amazing. It all goes to help support what we're doing. If you're donating to the show, thank you so much. You're amazing. And you're just all amazing. So if you're just checking out the show, thank you so much for checking it out. Hope you want to be involved. Just get subscribed and hit the bell on YouTube, or follow us on Twitch or any of the social media. But go to paranormalportal.net. That's the Paranormal Portal homepage. Has all the social media links, all the links to what we're doing. So hope you guys will check it out. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for being here. Jimmy, just sit tight. I'll be right with you. I'm going to close the show. So remember, everybody, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll see you next Wednesday for sure. So Don should be back, and we'll dive right back in and see what we can tear up next week. So until then, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and hope your week is amazing. And I'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Feel free to email if any of you got a lot of stories, want to be a guest on the podcast. Email me or check out the link. That's the button on paranormalportal.net says interview me. You can see our calendar app. Click it, and it'll let you know what days I do interviews on and some time brackets you can sign up for. And then I'll get the email and I'll talk to you. We'll be connecting. So that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, love you guys. Have a wonderful night and sweet dreams.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.